Good morning, one and all. Today is Wednesday, the 16th of October, 2019. Just gone 12:10 here in the UK, so good afternoon, not good morning. And my name is Ray from Next Forex Trade. And yeah, let's crack on. Let's see what the market's doing today. Here every day, Monday to Friday. So if you are into Forex or just looking for new strategies, don't forget to subscribe and look out for the daily updates that I give here. So first of all, got two positions in that are currently showing some profit at the moment. So NZDUSD and EURCAD. We'll come to those a bit later. But let's kick off. Let's kick off just by seeing what's. Let's go straight into the market. So first of all, AUDCAD. Firstly, we've got some signs of bearishness on this still. Lower lows, lower highs, fits neatly within our standard deviation. We can see this reference point here where the price hit resistance, which was also a lower high, which was also an interaction with our upper edge of our standard deviation, more or less. Price has now fallen away from that. So it is a bit too late now to short the price where it is. But what would make this better value for money would be on using these lower time frames for context. So I'd be looking for the price to move back to the upper edge of our standard deviation, the 4 hourly and the hourly as well. Maybe hit some kind of resistance that we can see in the previous price action and see reversals off of that. So maybe these types of levels here, if the price were to come back. That would be a better value for money, allowing us to enter with a stop loss above these previous highs on the daily, and going for one-to-one reward to risk should take your take profit from before these previous lows here, which, as you'll find from looking at my previous videos, is always my preference, taking when shorting to take profits before the previous lowest low. So yeah, there's potential in the AUDCAD, but does need to find some value. Would like it to pull back a bit more before considering shorting. AUDCHF. Let's have a look. No, don't like this at the moment. I mean, bearish overall based on this move. Let's just zoom out a bit. As we can see, it's kind of come round. It's hit resistance, bang on our standard deviation. It's starting to fall away, but what we need to see on this is the price really start to be, although it is kind of doing it. There's some nice early signs of bearishness coming into place. The question is, would I trade it? Probably not. I mean, I am in other positions at the moment, so I'm not looking to open new ones. But similar to the AUD, well, what have we looked at first? The AUDCAD. Really, to make this tradable, I'd want to see some more value come back in. So to come up, hit our upper edge of our standard deviation on the 4 hourly and also the hourly, see reversals off of that before attempting to short this. That will give some context for a stop loss above these previous highs. The resistance isn't as neat as it was on the other chart that we looked at. It has pierced through this before, but we still have some kind of a reference point here using these previous highs and have stop loss above there for the short. But there's probably better stuff out there, so it wouldn't be my preference. But you know, if you were looking at this, definitely looking for some better value, price to pull back and show signs of reversal before shorting. So this is AUDJPY. AUDJPY, no, bearish overall. Had this pullback here, which is bullish, so it's not really agreeing with what we want to see based on the daily. So this move here isn't great. It doesn't really fall into the story that we need to see on the daily, which we want to see some signs of bearishness. So it would need to break these previous lows. You can see from the other day, I think I've put this in. Really, the price needs to break that support there to kind of invalidate this bullish price structure. This is still very, you can see, it still fits neatly within our standard deviation. we need to see it break that, so create new lower lows and lower highs to make this viable. And I mean, you can see, because I mean the last three that we've looked at are very, very similar, because they all cross with the AUD currency, but a lot of the time it's just looking for the best setup in terms of placement, and if that's not there, just don't trade it. Wait for better opportunities. This here, AUDUSD, bearish overall. Wouldn't really want to short this just now, because firstly it's coming into support. You don't want to really sell into that support. Making profits off of this, you would need to likely see the price have to make new lows, even on a 1-to-1 reward to risk, which isn't great. And also there's not really, on the 4-hourly, there isn't any definitive signs of bearishness yet. I mean, this is starting to happen. This here is good, but I think there's still a little bit too much context to this move to the upside. So I'd pass on this, look for better opportunities. CAD CHF, no, very, very sideways. You can see it's coming into this resistance here, which is, I mean, it's just information, it's useful, but we were looking for trends. We're not looking for sideways markets. We want something that is readable, and that isn't great for trading. Just needs to come out of this ranginess to make it more tradable, so pass on that. CAD JPY, no, clear signs of bearishness here. It's peaked through, it's kind of bust through its standard deviation, hitting resistance here. But yeah, I mean, there would need to be signs of bearishness on these lower time frames anyway, which we're not really seeing to make this viable. So I'd pass on this until those start to roll over and show lower lows and lower highs. CHF JPY, bearish overall. No, can't see any signs of bearishness on these lower time frames just yet. They need to roll over, break, you know, something like this support here would be a good sign. The 4-hourly is very, very rangy. You can see this here, very, very rangy, no discernible trend. But the hourly is a bit more readable. You can see this price action here is giving higher highs and higher lows, fits within our standard deviation. So a break of this support would mean it breaking that support in terms of the price there, but also likely coming through our standard deviation and giving more context to potential lower lows and lower highs. But all conjecture until it happens, so pass on that one. Euro AUD, no, don't know why I'm taking so long on that. That's not it's not really tradable. I mean, there's this bigger move that I think I had my own previous videos from here to here. It's more of a weekly type trade really to look at. Now the price has kind of matured a bit in this move here. This gives a bit of context, but it's too overbought at the moment. It needs to come back, find some value at support, the lower edge of our standard deviation, before this is viable to be long on. So I would pass on that. This is the trade that I'm in, the EURCAD. So this is yeah, still hanging tight on this one. Slightly skeptical of this resistance. I mean, I've got my stop loss above this resistance, which is effectively this lower high here. But one of the things that I was just wary of when entering this is that the price on the daily hadn't really gone as far as our upper edge of our standard deviation to show the reversal. It was only around this level, which is still okay, but I'm just wary that there could still be some, you know, bullishness in this. But my stop loss is placed sensibly, my take profit is placed sensibly as well. I've got it before the previous lowest low here, so even if it does come to these levels, find support and bounce away, I've still taken some money off the table. Within the context of 4-hourly, it looks pretty nice, looks pretty achievable. So yeah, just gonna keep an eye on this, make sure the low time frame price action continues to do what I want it to do, which is create lower lows and lower highs and fall more or less within our standard deviation channel. And yeah, we'll just see how this one goes. Probably not one that I would want to add to in terms of scaling into, just because of that issue that we're seeing on the daily. But I'm happy to have 1% online for this one in terms of risk. So yeah, we'll see how that one materializes. And we've got the Euro CHF. No, bearish overall, hitting resistance here, but there's no signs of bearishness on these lower time frames just yet. So I would pass on that until if and when that happens. Euro GBP, again, pound strength, seen this move lower, very oversold area in my opinion here. So this would need to pull back to find some value, be a bit more overbought before attempting to short this. So pass on that one for now. Euro JPY, no, bearish overall, hitting resistance here. There's clear signs that the price had found trouble moving lower than that level at this time and moving higher than it there. So it's the case of previous support becomes resistance, become resistance again. It's good that it's also interacting with our standard deviation channel at the top, so it's finding resistance off of that, but there are no signs of bearishness on our lower time frames. These are still very bullish with higher highs, higher lows. These need to break these previous lows, start to roll over, show lower lows, lower highs. So pass on that one. Euro NZD, bullish overall, but not the time to be in this in my opinion. This is just breaking, making new highs here. Not great value for money if you're trying to go long on this, because it's not as clear how much the upside could be. Whereas if we entered much lower at these levels here, which is what we're looking for, the price to pull back, find support around these levels, then the entry would be much better in terms of where the stop loss would be and what the profit potential would be. But this at the moment is just too far gone. It's too expensive, so pass on that. What we got here? Euro USD. Yeah, bearish overall. Looking at the daily here, we got these lower lows, lower highs. Fits neatly within our standard deviation. Perfect. Almost textbook reversals off of resistance and our standard deviation channel. These previous highs act as resistance, this previous support. So we've got a clear reference point for our stop loss above these highs. What really is missing is just these lower time frames to start to roll over. So the 4 hourly, for example, at the moment is still very bullish. You can see it fits within our standard deviation nicely, which is this move up here. But we need it to start breaking these previous lows. So these types of levels here, price needs to come down, break through, and then pull back. Same story on the hourly. Basically, this support here is what we're looking to be broken. Right, this level here is the same as this one here, so it needs to break through and then pull back, giving context to our standard deviation from the high to the low. I'm looking for then price to find resistance off of the high. But this should be interesting, maybe in the next coming days, possibly into next week. But certainly not today. It's not one I would look to be shorting, but it's one to look out for. The GBP AUD, again, the GBP strength here is just too, it's almost, it's just a massive overextended move here. That in my opinion, the way that I trade, this is just too late. This needs to find value, pull back, as is the case with most of the GBP crosses today. So GBP CAD, same story, just too overbought. You can see it's just interacting with our standard deviation channel, which means that the price has a good likelihood of coming back to the average, coming back to find value. So now is not a good time to be long. So just wait for it to come to these levels here to allow to potentially be long on that. Same here, GBP CHF, won't labour the point. This needs to find value, pull back to allow for long positions. Same here, GBP JPY needs to find value. I want to see this come back, pull back and find support. GBP NZD, same again. Pound strength is really seeing these, going to overbought or oversold positions at the moment. It's interesting that this is interacting here. You can see this high here, which is also our standard deviation high, is kind of at a previous high as well. It's nothing that really can trade off. It's just something to observe. It just means that as it's approaching this high, this might even be an all-time high. No, it's not. As it approaches this high, there's a good likelihood it will find resistance there and then fall away. This strategy doesn't really capitalize on that in any way, but you know, if you're doing something like a fade trade based strategy, you could consider having, you know, stop losses above that level and looking to fade the price. So looking for the price to make money as the price kind of comes back down to find value. But yeah, let's concentrate on this one. This is a trend based strategy, so that isn't really part of the way that I trade in these videos. So this is GBP USD. I would be hesitant to trade this at the moment. Just, yeah, we'll take this as the context. There is some bearishness overall in this, but using this as the most recent price action, it would mean price would need to show signs of pulling back and finding support before potentially going long on this. So pass. And NZDUSD, this is just too late in the move. It's just you know, coming down to find support here. The opportune time to enter this was up around here, where the prices in the hourly, in the 4 hourly, you know, was showing it started to roll over and show those early signs of bearishness. The NZDUSD is very similar to this, which is the trade that I'm in, which is almost hitting take profit here. So I'll go over that a bit more in that case, in this instance. But this one here, not great to trade at the moment. If you're in it, yeah, you could certainly consider holding positions as the price approaches this low, you know, holding out for the price to go into a more oversold area, or at least taking some of the profit off, or if you prefer, all of it. But opening new positions, not really now. No, this is just too far gone. There's not much value for money in this. But this is definitely a hold rather than you know, opening new positions. So let's see what else we've got. NZDJPY, bearish overall. Not much clarity. Well, this is okay price action, but in this downtrend, I'd want it to be interacting, as I've said before, with these previous edges here in the standard deviation, the upper edge. There's better stuff out there. Also, these lower time frames aren't great in terms of the bearishness that we'd want to see. They're still very bullish, so they need to start breaking price structure before anything is viable in terms of shorts on this. So I'd pass on this one. NZDUSD, this is the trade I'm in as well, so it's nearing take profit. So yeah, got on this based on the daily lower lows, lower highs, entered with a stop loss above the previous lower high, which was also resistance that I was seeing in the previous price here. So these types of lows, it would be more evident on our lower time frames. In fact, yeah, let's have a look at on the lower time frame. So hourly, you can see that was the lower high on the daily in that bigger move, and my stop here, you can see there's that resistance here, here, previous support here, resistance, support. So above that level made sense in terms of a stop loss. So I've entered this on a 1-to-1. Could have probably scaled into this. There was opportunities to add to this, but you know, it's okay. This is only 1%. Taking profits off before this previous low based on a 1-to-1. There's scope to, you know, hold this position beyond these previous lows. So this is definitely one you can consider holding, but for me at the moment I'm just going on the 1-to-1 for this. So if this hits take profit, I'm okay with that. Yeah, it's a sensible enough trade. If it doesn't, then yeah, I'm just using this price action now to guide my my decision making. So you can see the price now based on the hourly is coming into quite an oversold area, based on the standard deviation. So there's a good likelihood it will probably just come very, very close to my take profit and reverse. It's not unheard of. But I will just use the way that this price action develops to see how I manage that. It may be a case that I bring down my stop loss to above a previous lower high and end up taking out, slightly less than what the take profit was here. But it's all about protecting capital, really. I'm not too fussed on that. There's enough context in the price action to manage this without having to take the full loss now. So we'll see how that one pans out, and I will get back to you tomorrow. USD CAD. What's going on with USD CAD? Bullish overall, I would say. Very, very sideways market in terms of how it's making the new highs and new lows. Not super tradable. No. This. I mean, it's readable, it's tradable, but it's just there's better stuff out there that we've discussed. Wouldn't really want to be in this. It's just very, very rangy price action. So I pass on this, although overall got a bullish outlook on that. USD CHF, this needs to find some value, come back to our standard deviation kind of levels here, show signs of reversal before attempting to go long on this. If that were to happen, then I mean, it's essentially the same price action we're looking at on the 4-hourly that we are on the daily. So but we need to see that happen first of all. Not likely to be this week, because we're on Wednesday now. We need a bearish candle, and then we need a reversal candle, so that'd be Friday. So yeah, probably the earliest Monday that we can really have a look at that. And then USD JPY. No, still the way this is, it's bearish over here in this move here, but it's hitting resistance kind of at previous highs, just peaked outside of our standard deviation. But this move to the upside has a bit too much context as well, so it's a bit of limbo where there's context both to the down and then in the retrace as well, with potential bullishness to break past these previous highs and potentially move higher. So when there's that kind of not that much clarity in that, then pass, just look for better stuff. So I think that's it for today. Yeah, that's the entire market. So be back again tomorrow. So yeah, if that's been of use, don't forget to give a thumbs up, and feel free to ask any questions as well in the comments section below. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.